First step, we're going to take off the red lens, which it screws on. We take that off, and there's a bulb in there. And these are always fun because, there, he came right out. He's a bayonet style bulb. There's a bayonet holder in there. Now we're going to take these two little screws out, and I'll take this apart and show you what's inside. One little bitty tiny screw. And the other little tiny screw. Lift off the base. Now, inside, this will come out. Now we have an empty shell. This is your base that holds your bulb. You can see the two. There's no tab under it to hold it up, so it will just fall. But this is what makes the ground. So this has to touch this case to make ground. And this one's painted very well. It makes ground. Sometimes you might have to take a little of the paint off to get it to make good ground. Now, the lower plate has the contact. This tab touches the track. You can see this one's square. The early versions are rounded. And they stopped this production of this rounded one in about 1958 and went to the square because of Super O track. These did not like to work on the Super O. All right, we've got the bottom plate and the contact. We're going to check continuity. I've got one blade on the little blade that touches the track and where the bulb touches. Perfect continuity. Now later we're going to check and make sure that this copper piece is not contacting this metal or this metal, because that will short it out. Now, the ground contact, this holds the bulb, and then the little tab is your spring pressure to hold it up. Okay, there's really nothing to test here because it's one piece. You want to make sure you can see the little scratch marks right here, and it's only on one side. These little tabs right here kind of scratch on the surface, and you might want to take, we're going to do this, and scratch a little deeper so that makes good contact. And I'll scratch on the other side. I'd like that to make better contact. Okay, we got two little scratch marks there and there and there and there. Okay, I'm going to spread this out a little bit so she pushes in there. Okay, now it's down in there. Oh, and I've got it backwards. There's a little plunger. That's what this cutout notch is. See, now he doesn't push on the bracket. Okay. Now, we want to make sure our bracket and this case are making contact. So we're going to put one on the bracket and touch the screws, which will be making the contact with the track. See, on the painted surface, it really doesn't make good contact. That's why we're touching the screw, and it makes good contact. Now, we're going to put our base back on. Start the little screw. This is a number 1 Phillips, or probably a 0. It's a very small Phillips screwdriver. Okay. Now we're back together. Tighten them a little more. I don't feel any movement. Okay, now we want, like I said, we want to make sure the copper and the steel are not making contact. There is no movement on the meter. If I touch the screw, you got movement. If you touch this, no movement. Okay. Now, you can see inside there the little copper piece, and that's your spring loaded to contact the bulb on the bottom. And your bayonets have two little notches. You put it in, give it a quarter turn. Now, if we touch that, we have contact because we have a bulb in there. Okay. Now, if we hook the transformer, one on the little copper tab, one on the screw, the light lights up. Put the springs back on it. Take that off. But the biggest thing is to make sure that your copper piece is not touching the steel, that its only contact is through the bulb, or else it will short out. The biggest problem is these do not make contact with the body where we scratch the paint on. But there's your explanation on how they work and how to test them. And we'd be happy to answer more questions anytime. Thank you very much.